One day after getting his contract extension, and Nick Sirianni opens up about the deal, plus Jalen Hurts on why he and the head coach are just getting started together. The future of the tush push gets put to a vote this week. Here why Jordan Mailata isn't worried at all if it gets banned. And we look at some key over-unders for the Eagles this season. Just how many yards will Saquon Barkley rack up after his historic 2K season? And with that, welcome into Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL. Nick Sirianni's pockets just a little bit fatter today, but he seems just as driven for another ring, which is refreshing.
Absolutely. Get a ring, get a new contract, paid, the Brinks truck backed up to his crib, wife, his family, the family, the wife, they're all good right now. The family's good. He can take his family out to eat, when he wants to now. I mean, that's
I'm sure he was
huge.
Never going out to dinner before.
No, he couldn't afford it before. He was one of the lowest paid coaches in the NFL, but now he got the bag. Hey, Pops, it's on me this time. You know what I'm saying? It's on me.
They can go to a nice dinner this weekend.
Hey. No more going to
no
whatever
Wendy's.
now, no Wendy's.
Hey, I like Wendy's.
Burger King.
I hope you're not watching Wendy's. Today, Nick Sirianni thanked Jeffrey Lurie for his extension and then gave his praise out to everyone else for their success. Take a listen.
It felt like with every player that I talked to, the main thing that was coming out of my mouth was, well, I'm not in this situation without great players, and I'm not in this situation where I'm able to sign a new contract without great coaches, and I'm not in this situation to be here without Howie. So it truly is. You can't be great without the greatness of others.
Everything that he's been able to achieve and accomplish, he's earned, and just to see his evolution and his growth from my perspective and playing quarterback for him. His whole entire tenure here, it's been a great experience, been a great ride. It's been a lot of learning for the both of us, and hopefully we're just getting started.
Impressive stuff there from Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. It's time now for our 3-point stance presented by Toyota. Number one, Nick Sirianni should be one of the top 5 highest paid coaches in the NFL. And Barrett, you started producing yesterday's show when you were talking about this, made it a stance because it's so true, especially with Nick Sirianni. We don't know the details of this new contract, but when you look at the resume, this guy should be top 5, no-brainer.
Yeah, and I'm tired of everybody talking about, the great team that he has. That's why no, it has nothing to do with that. I saw a lot of owners, a la Dallas, go out and try to buy these super teams. It doesn't work like it does in basketball. Basketball, you can go buy a team, but football, you can't just buy a team. You got to make sure that you have all these things combined together. It's not just, having the best athletes, but you have the best athletes that work next to guys that are scraping the bottom of the barrel and getting those guys to buy into one vision, one goal. And that's what he's done. Look at the emotional intelligence. We talk about that all the time with Coach Nick Sirianni. But, hey, look at this list right here. Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh. There's a lot of guys right there that have football Super Bowls, when you look at them. Andy Reid's got a couple of them. Jim Harbaugh has yet to get one. Sean Payton has one. Tomlin has one. McVay has one. He should be up there in those upper echelon, coaches as far as being and getting the bag. So I think he's right around that. He should be right on that $15, $16, $17 million range. He's a great coach. I didn't want to jump ship on him. I just tell the truth about his product on the field. 2 years ago, towards the end, yes, the product was terrible. He didn't get those guys going. But I didn't want him to go out and have a mass exodus and fire him and go out and get another guy. I'm glad they chose to keep him around because he's more than just a guy that goes out there and just gives X and O's. He gives these guys more than that. You name it as far as showing them that he cares. That's what he's great at, being that guy. The emotional intelligence means a lot more than people give him credit for. So, I love Coach Sirianni. I love the way he reacts with his players. I love the fact that, you look at the culture he's built in that locker room. Say what you want to say. He got these guys together, and it's not just the players, but, the ownership, the guys in the front office. He's got everybody working like a well-oiled machine.
Right. It's the product that we've seen on the field.
Absolutely.
Jordan Mailata talked about it, allowing the players to lead, which is so huge, which leads us to number 2. Jalen Hurts is more driven than ever because Nick Sirianni allows him to do so. The Eagles quarterback also met the media today and explained how he's preparing after a Super Bowl winning season.
You have to be able to decode, detect, and then correct, and you refine the things that you need to refine. I think the bigger picture, the the more important thing is being able to detect what I can improve on and how important it is to improve in that. You know, we can all work hard in something, but not necessarily be working hard on the right things. Right now, it's just laying the foundation, trying to figure out what iteration of this team, what this iteration of the team will be.
Well, interesting there, really everyone we heard from today talked about this, how you win a Super Bowl, you go back to what's working, but also understanding you have to evolve as a football team. Jalen Hurts talked about it right there. We can't rely on what we had last season to succeed again, and that's why, again, this offseason is so important.
It is important. You know, he said decode meaning, all right, Dan, we got to figure out what we didn't do good, what we did excel at last year, and start to see how we can do it. Detect what it is, and then make sure we get these things corrected, and then, you know, as you go forward, all three of these things combine to a team that, you know, gets better. They have all the talent in the world, but if you don't correct what you have and just lean on the things you did last year, there are a lot of the teams that looked at you, broke your tape down. There's a lot. That's all they're doing right now. They're looking at what did the Eagles do? How were they successful? What put them in a position to be as great as they were? So once they do that, they're going to figure out a way to stop that. So after they stop that, what are you going to do next? You know, you got to make sure you can have more versions of yourself. You just can't stay at that one version. You got to continue to evolve till you get better. And these guys will definitely do that, especially with Jalen Hurts. That's one thing he does, and I respect about him the most. He never stays stagnant. If he's staying stagnant, that means you're dying. Yep. When you go out there, you're steady evolving, you're getting better. I mean, that's what he does. You know, he's never at a point where he feels comfortable where he is. He's always trying to excel. So that's one of his best traits.
Totally agree. I mean, someone's catching up, and we don't want that.
You can't let that happen.
Well, the news of the week, number 3, the Eagles will be just fine without the tush push. The play is expected to be voted on by NFL owners tomorrow at their meetings in Minnesota. But today, Jordan Mailata was asked his thoughts on the future of the play.
It's not up to us, and we can't control if they rule it or not. But they're ruling the push.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we just do it without no push then. You know, I think that's the solution. In terms of them banning the tush push, I hate that name, so I hope they do ban it. It's a stupid name. But I can't control that. We can't control it, so we don't even worry about that. Right now, we're just installing our schemes. Worrying about if they're going to ban the tush push or not ain't going to win us another championship.
Well, they're definitely used to talking about it at this point because it's been every offseason. It's been talked about so much this year. I'm at the point, Barrett, where we're just ban it so you can move forward.
Oh, no question. All right, just not going to call it. It's going to be called QB sneak like it was before. They don't need to be pushing Jalen. Jalen squats 600 pounds. He didn't need anybody pushing him behind him. And then you look at this offensive line. It was custom drafted to be built like this. These guys across this offensive line, which will be all draft picks, I think, you know, because at this point, the starters will be draft picks, were drafted to be big, huge offensive line, the biggest in the NFL. And from this point forward, they're going to use it. You know, they drafted guys to run the tush push or QB sneak or whatever you want to call it. The biggest offensive line doesn't have a problem rolling people over on these QB sneaks. Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds, doesn't have a problem with stepping over guys as he goes into the end zone when they run QB sneak. I'm not worried about that. And, oh, by the way, they don't even have to run QB sneak. How about we got 2 running backs that have the biggest quads in the NFL, Saquon Barkley and A.J. Dillon, who will run over you also. And, oh, by the way, we can also pass it. You know, we got 2 great receivers on the outside and a great tight end. Pick your poison. We'll do whatever we want to do on how we want to score. So I'm not worried about that. I never was worried about it.
Go ahead and take it. Take out all the fun.
Haters.
And they'll still handle it. We are back here on Birds Huddle. We figured it's time to take a look at some player props for this season and play a little over-under, some prediction here. And, of course, we're going to start off with Saquon Barkley, becoming just the 9th ever player to eclipse 2,000 rushing yards. This coming season, his over-under for rushing yards down, set at 1,500.5. Baird, are you going over or under this for Saquon Barkley?
You know what? I'm going under just for the betterment of the team, though. Not because he can't do it, because they can do whatever they want to do. Big offensive line, biggest in NFL, him running behind him, one of the biggest quads in NFL. He can run over everybody. But, hey, they're going to evolve as an offense. I think they're going to pass just a little bit more, become more even in their play selection. And they're going to do it not out of necessity, because they feel like they want to do it. They want to make the receivers happy this year. The receivers threw them a bone last year. So they said, all right, you got to feed us now. So Saquon, we're going to give you a little less carries and have these guys on the outside win a little more. So I'm going to say, yes, they're gonna, he might not have 1,500. He might have 1,450.
Okay, so really close. I'm going slightly over this because I think when you look at the difference of 2,000 rushing yards to 1,500, a huge drop up, 500 rushing yards. Well, I do think they'll have a more balanced offense. We heard a lot of guys talking about that today. I think 1,500, 500 less rushing yards is a drastic difference. To me, Barrett, and I get this as a topic, strike while the iron's hot. Saquon Barkley, this is the prime of his career. Do you want to make it, 3, 4 more seasons with the Eagles? Absolutely. But is it realistic to think he's going to have this production for years to come? No. So if he can do it right now, get the most out of him, we'll worry about that years down the road. They have A.J. Dillon to help out this season, but I want Saquon Barkley. I want to get the most out of him when I have him right now.
I get it. You're absolutely right. Take advantage. Strike it while the iron's hot. Let's go.
Well, next up, speaking of striking while the iron's hot, A.J. Brown's receiving touchdowns. They are set at 7.5. For context, he had 11 in 2022, but exactly 7 in each of his last 2 seasons. Going over or under A.J. Brown touchdowns?
Oh, we're going under. I think he might get double digits. It's going to be bombs over Baghdad. They're going, over. They're going over. They're going to be lighting it up from the outside.
14 touchdowns?
Oh, no question. He's going to, double digits. Might be 10, 11, 12. I think he's going to go into it this year being even better as a pass catcher, understanding what to do in this offense. Patullo, going out there and making it happen for his receivers on the outside. He's going to have some big, big numbers, and I think he's going to be a threat in the red zone. So, yeah, I look for him to have over on that, and I'm thinking double digits.
I like that too. I'm also going over, I think probably around 11 or 12 at this point with A.J. Brown. I thought he handled it so professionally last season when asked about his targets. But you're at the point now where you can only do this for so long.
Right,
if you go another season with a lack of targets, with Devontae Smith as well, I think it becomes bigger than just a topic point. You have these guys, you got to use them. You got to find a way to keep everyone happy, which is Kevin Patullo's up late trying to figure that out right now.
Hey, feed me, Seymour, feed me. That's back in the day, a show back in the day, but yeah. Feed me, Seymour.
Speaking of, another topic here, Devontae Smith receiving yards, that total is set at 850.5. Last year, 13 games, he fell just short, 833 yards. Does he go over that this year?
I think he goes over because I think he's going to be more of a possession guy, getting the ball to him on those 3rd and longs, getting in the middle of the field. They're going to use him more, which is going to open up A.J. on the outside for touchdowns. So they're going to use him a lot more in the offense itself, the framework of the offense. He's so good. He creates so much separation. He's so quick. This is where he's going to thrive at. He may not have a lot of touchdowns, but he's going to have a lot of yards after the catch because he's going to run great routes and give this offense more stability in the passing game because he is going to be open.
I totally agree with you. I'm going over just slightly here. I think they're going to use him a lot in 1st down situations. I agree in the red zone and on 3rd down, you're probably going to the bigger bodies like an A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert.
Exactly.
But to take the top off the defense, I think for sure it's going to be Devontae Smith more in that 1st yardage situation. We also forget about Jahan Dotson. They're going to have to get him the ball more too. There's not a lot of footballs to go around here, and we should note that there are no props on Jalen Hurts' rushing touchdowns right now, with the tush-push's future very much in balance. But next up, we have Jalen Hurts' over-under 19.5 passing touchdowns. He had just 18 last year in 15 games. He had over 20 in both 2022 2023. Jalen Hurts passing touchdowns. What do you think?
Let's go. It's going up. It's going up, And just like you said, there's a lot of weapons. I think Dallas Goedert becomes more productive, especially in the red zone. Also with A.J., which is going to be more touchdowns for him. And I think that, you realistically want him to be able to go out there and dictate tempo in the red zone for those big type of plays. Since they don't want to do tush push, let's just bomb them. Let's go out there and throw the ball when we get in the red zone, open it up a little bit. But then, it's going to open up the run game, Maybe run a little, a couple screens on the inside to our receivers, So I really think his touchdown production is going to go way up this year with the passing touchdowns. Since we're not going to be able to tush push, his touchdowns will probably go down a little bit.
Okay, well, since they can't tush push, I'm going over for this next one. I think under passing, but over here, Jalen Hurts over 600.5 rushing yards. He's gone over that number in each of the last 4 seasons. Does he make it 5 in a row? I say yes, because they're going to use him more with no tush push. What do you think?
You know what? I've been around, quarterbacks that started out that way, and usually, when they say, all right, then I'm going to evolve as a quarterback, I'm going to stop running a lot more. I'm going to become, very, centered on art, pre-snap reads, getting the ball out. So I think he's going to throw more. So I think that's going to be a major deal for him. So he's not going to run a lot. He's going to throw a lot more and really evolve this offense into a better offense.
Yeah, not put himself in harm's way as much. Maturing.